Hey guys, welcome back. So today we'll be adding and subtracting three fractions. Let's look at this example, 1 over 6 plus 2 over 15 minus 3 over 8. And the best way to solve these examples, guys, when you're adding or subtracting three fractions is to use the prime factorization. That is the best method to use when you are solving these types of examples. So in this example here, notice that your denominators are not the same. So that means that you do need to find a common denominator. So we are going to list my 6, my 15, and my 8, and we are going to find the least common multiple. So my 6, we can break down the 6 into 2 times 3, and as you can see, we cannot factor any further, so we're going to leave just alone. And then my 15, we can factor this into 3 times 5, and as you can see, we cannot factor any further. And then for my 8, we can factor to 2 times 4, and my 4, I can factor into 2 times 2. And as you can see, for my 8, we cannot factor any further. So my 6, we said we have 2 times 3. For my 15, we have 3 times 5. That's going to give us 15. And then for my 8, we have 2 times 2 times 2. That's going to give us 8. So now we are going to find our common multiple, and you are going to look for a match of 2 or more. So you're looking for a match of 2 or more. So we have a match right here for my 2's, and then we have a match here for my 3's. And then my other numbers, my 5, my 2, and my 2 here are singles, so I will be including that in my answer. However, my first match that we did find is going to be a 2. I'm going to add that in my answer. So we have 2 times, we have a 3 here, and then we have another 2, and 5. So I'm going to add a 2 here, a 2 here, and a 5. Now we're going to multiply because remember, we are looking for the least common multiple. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 24 times 5 is going to equal 120. So your least common multiple here is 120. So that means I need to get 120 in my denominator so that we can add or subtract. So let's look at our first fraction here, 1 over 6. What number do I need to multiply my 6 with that's going to give me 120 in my denominator? If I multiply top and bottom here by 20, that is going to give me 120 in my denominator. So 20 times 1 is 20, and then 20 times 6 is 120. Next here, this fraction here, what number times 15 is going to give me 120 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 8. If I multiply 2 times 8, that's going to give me 16. And then 15 times 8, that's 120, and that's perfect. That's what we're looking for. Now, 3 over 8, what number times 8 is going to give me 120 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 15. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by 15. So 3 times 15, this is going to be 45. And then 8 times 15 is also 120, and that's perfect. So now that my denominators are the same, we have 120 in my denominators, now I can go ahead and add and subtract. So my denominators are the same, so we have 120 in my denominator. In my numerator, we have 20 plus 16 minus 45. 20 plus 16, this is going to equal 36. And then 36 minus 45 over 120, this is going to equal -9 over 120. Now, by looking at this example here, can we simplify -9 over 120? The answer is yes, because the number 3 goes into both. So my numerator now, you're going to get -3 because -9 divided by 3 is -3. And then your denominator, 120 divided by 3, this is going to equal 40. So your final answer here, when you add and subtract these fractions, is going to be -3 over 40. 1 over 9 minus 7 over 15 plus 4 over 45. And as you can see, your denominators are not the same, so we do need to find a common denominator. We are going to list the multiples for my 9, 15, and 45. So for your 9, if you simplify your 9 The multiples you're going to get is 3 times 3, and I cannot simplify any further. For 15, you're going to get 3 times 5. You cannot simplify that any further. And then 45, you're going to get 5 times 9. And then for your 9, you can simplify that into 3 times 3. And as you can see, you cannot simplify that any further. So let's go ahead and write these down. So my 9, we said 3 times 3. We simplified that. 15, we have 3 times 5. And then 45, we have 3 times 3 times 5. Now let's find our least common multiple. We are looking for a match of 2 or more. So as you can see here, we do have a match here for my 3, so that's perfect. We have a match for our 3s, and we also have a match here for our 5, so that's perfect. So our least common multiple we have here is going to be a 3. We have a match here for our 3, so I'm going to list my 3 times another 3, which we found here, the orange lines. And then we have another match for my 5, so I'm going to list that as well. So we have 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 5, this is going to be 45. So your least common multiple for these numbers here is going to be the number 45. So that means we need to get 45 in our denominator so that we can add or subtract. 1 over 9, what number times 9 is going to give me 45 in the denominator? And that's going to be the number 5. So 5 times 9 gives me 45 in my denominator. So that's perfect. That means I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 5. 5 times 1 is going to be 5. And then 5 times 9, like we said, is 45. And that's perfect. 15 times what number is going to give me 45 in the denominator? That's going to be the number 3. 15 times 3 is 45. And I multiply the top here by 3 as well. 7 times 3 is 21. Now my 4 over 45, what number times 45 is going to give me 45 in my denominator? And that's just going to be the number 1. So 45 times 1, and then you just multiply the top by 1. So 45 times 1 is 45, that's perfect. And then 4 times 1 is 4. And remember guys, for this example, for the 4 over 45, remember we are looking for a number when you multiply your denominator with is going to give you the 45. All right, so here we did 5 times 9, that gives me 45. 15 times 3, that gives me 45. And 45 times 1, that gives me 45. If you don't want to multiply by 1, you can just leave it alone, meaning just write 4 over 45 since you already have 45 in your denominator. All right. So now our denominators are the same. That's perfect. So now we're going to add or subtract. So my numerator, we have 5 minus 21 plus 4. So 5 minus 21, this is going to equal negative 16. Negative 16 plus 4 over 45. Negative 16 plus 4 is going to equal negative 12 over 45. And by looking at this example here, we can simplify because 3 goes into both the negative 12 and 45. Negative 12 divided by 3 is going to equal negative 4. And then 45 divided by 3, this is going to equal 15. So your final answer here is negative 4 over 15, or you may write negative 12 over 45 if you do not simplify. So negative 12 over 45 is your non-simplified answer, but if you simplify, it will be negative 4 over 15. We have 5 over 14 minus 3 over 4 plus 9 over 10. So I'm going to go ahead and list the denominators here. Remember, we need to find a common denominator since my denominators in this example are not the same. So 14, what numbers? We can simplify this into 2 times 7, and I cannot simplify any further, so I'll leave that alone. For my 4, we can simplify that into 2 times 2. And then my 10, we can simplify that into 2 times 5. So 14, we have 2 times 7, 4, 2 times 2, and then 10, we have 2 times 5. Remember, we are looking for a match of 2 or more. So as you can see, I do have a match here for my 2s. That's perfect. And I do not have any of the matches. So this will be alone, this 2 will be alone, and this 5 will be alone. So I'm adding my first 2. Then I'm going to add my second 2 here. and then my 5, and then my 7, which is right here. Now let's find our least common multiple. Let's multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 7 is going to equal 140. So your least common multiple is going to be 140. So that means we need to get 140 in our denominator so that we can add or subtract. All right, so if we look at our 5 over 14, what number times 14 is going to give me 140 in the denominator? And that is going to be the number 10. If I multiply 10 times 14, that's going to give me 140 in my denominator, and that's perfect. So that means I'm going to multiply the top here by 10 as well. 10 times 5 is 50, and then 10 times 14 is 140. That's perfect. If I look at my 3 over 4, what number times 4 is going to give me 140 in my denominator? And that is going to be the number 35. 35 times 4 is 140. So I'm just going to multiply the top and bottom here by 35 as well. 3 times 35 is going to be 105. And then 4 times 35, that's going to be 140. It's perfect. Now 9 over 10. What number times 10 is going to give me 140 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 14. So if I multiply top and bottom here by 14, I am going to get 140 in my denominator. So 9 times 14, this is going to be 126. And then 10 times 14 is 140, and that's perfect. My denominators are the same, so that's perfect. So we have 50 minus 105 plus 126 in my numerator. So 50 minus 105, this is going to equal negative 55. So we have negative 55 plus 126 over 140. And your numerator is going to be a positive 71. And then your denominator is going to be 140. And based on this example here, I cannot simplify any further. So your final answer here is 71 over 140. 1 plus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3 and then plus 1 over 4. Let's look at this example here. Our denominators are not the same, so we do need to find a common denominator. So I'm going to list the multiples here for my 2, my 3, and my 4. For my 2, as you can see, we cannot factor this any further, so this is just going to be 2. For my 3, we cannot factor this any further either, so this is just going to be 3. And my 4, we can factor this into 2 times 2. So let's go ahead and write these down. So my 2, we can't factor that, that's just 2. My 3 is just going to be 3. And then my 4, we're going to factor that into 2 times 2. So now let's look for a match of 2 or more. So far, we do have a match here for my 2, so that's perfect. And then all the other numbers are singles. We do not have a match for them. However, we will still include them in our answer because we are looking for the least common multiple. So my 2 here, I'm going to go ahead and write this one time. That's perfect. My other 2, I'm going to go ahead and write that one. And then we have our 3. I'm going to include that as well. 2 times 2 here is going to equal 4. 4 times 3, this is going to equal 12. So your least common multiple in this example is 12. So that means I need to get 12 in my denominator so that we can add or subtract. Now let's look at my 1 here. Notice you do have just the number 1. Remember, we do have our imaginary 1 under here. So your denominator in this example is just going to be 1. But we need a 12 in our denominator based on what we just found for our least common multiple. So 1 times what number is going to give me 12 in my denominator? 1 times 12 is going to give me 12 in my denominator, so that's perfect. I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by the number 12. Let's look at my 1 over 2. What number times 2 is going to give me 12 in the denominator? So what number times 2 will give me 12 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 6. So I'll multiply top and bottom here by the number 6. My 1 over 3, what number times 3 is going to give me 12 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 4. 3 times 4 will give me 12 in my denominator. So that's perfect. I'm going to multiply top and bottom by the number 4. And then my 1 over 4, what number times 4 is going to give me 12 in my denominator? And that's going to be the number 3. 3 times 4 is going to give me 12 in my denominator. So that's perfect. I'm going to multiply top and bottom here by the number 3. So now let's go ahead and multiply. So we have 12 times 1. This is going to be 12. 12 times 1 again is 12. Perfect. 1 times 6 is 6. And then 2 times 6 is 12. That's perfect. 1 times 4 is 4. And then 3 times 4 is 12. And then 1 times 3 is 3. And then 4 times 3 is also 12, and that's perfect. Now that my denominators are the same, we can add our numerators. So I'm going to add 12 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 in our numerator. So our numerator is going to be 25, and then our denominator here is going to be 12. Now, by looking at this example, this is an example of an improper fraction. So let's convert this into a mixed number. So we have 12 on the outside and we have 25 on the inside. 12 goes into 25 2 times. 12 times 2 is 24. 25 minus 24 is going to be 1. So as a mixed fraction, this is going to be 2 and 1/12, which is right here. So your final answer is going to be 25 over 12, or if you turn it into a mixed number, you're going to get 2 and 1/12. And this is your final answer here. All right, so that is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.